Hey, good evening, folks, and welcome back to Wilderness Wargaming. We're playing a little catch-up ball here. We're going to have a triple header today. 3 faction focuses, Orks, Thousand Sons, and Grey Knights, and try to get caught up to where we're at so we can get some other content out there besides just the faction focuses. We're going to hit up some more camping and hiking family content after that, as well as ongoing 10th edition stuff and a little more of Inquisitor Martyr, and try to do a little Dark Tide. We're also going to have coming up a pork butt for Memorial Day. We'll have that out to you very shortly and show you how we do a 13-hour pork butt smoke on this channel. So let's get right into it. As an aside, I am having a little Shinerbach Bohemian Black Lager tonight. This is a beer that is made here in Texas. It's a Texas tradition. The regular Shinerbach is the flagship. It has more yellow and red. This is their black lager, which is a very dark flavored, but yet light, low, not a heavy beer. It's not like a stout or a porter where you feel like you're drinking a football. This is it has that flavor, but not that density and feeling of a little bit too much, and I really like it. Anyhow, let's get down here and check out the Orks first. So the Orks are probably one of the 2 classic original factions from Warhammer 40,000 from back when I was probably in middle school, and I'm going to be 48 this summer. Originally, it was Space Marines and Orks. I remember seeing ads for in Dragon magazine back in the late 1980s, early 90s, when I was in high school, middle school, and these were the guys. And then they were also one of the 2 factions in the main box you could purchase for 2nd edition. And I got them, and I sold my extra Orks to my buddy, because my best friend, who was an Orks player, and he was the one who taught me to play Warhammer. So I learned to play Warhammer against Orks. And they were something else back then. It was a little ridiculous. Back then, for example, they had the pulsar rocket, and the pulsar rocket was a weapon that shot a range across the board that you had to estimate. But when it landed, it blew out in this gigantic radius and stopped any of your units from moving. And if you had things like, say, jet bikes, it would really even wreak havoc on them. Well, back then, org charts weren't really a thing, and limits weren't as tight as they are now. And my buddy figured out if he bought 4 models of them and then used each one to simulate 4 of them, because they were 1 shot apiece, he could shoot one every single round of the game and basically stop my entire army from doing anything. And after 2 games of playing where I literally rolled 4 dice per game, I told him if he used any more than 1 pulsar rocket in a game, I would not play him anymore. And he stopped doing it. But it was all good. So let's get down here and check out what the Orks look like in the modern day. Okay, first up, their army rule is the WOG, unsurprisingly. If your army factors Orks once per battle, you can call a WOG. This is a once per game at the start of the battle round. So it doesn't matter who goes first. It's at the start of the battle round. Ork units from your army are eligible to declare a charge and determine whether they advanced, and one of the strengths and attack characteristics of melee weapons equipped by Ork models from your army, so it doesn't apply to ranged, and they get a 5 up invuln. Okay. This gives them a single battle round where they have some pretty strong additional benefits on top of whatever they've already got. So the entire army has a 5 up invuln. Strength and attack going up. These are all strong bonuses by themselves, but all put together, this is going to be a brutal turn and could really swing the tide of a battle. So, although the Ork player is going to be under a lot of pressure to use it wisely, you are under a lot of pressure to deal with it if the other guy is using it. WOG Tribe detachment rule gets stuck in. Melee weapons equipped by Ork models from your have sustained hits, so all your 6s are going to convert an extra hit. And Orks are known for having a large number of attacks, so they're going to have a lot of 6s. Okay. So let's look at some Beast Snagga boys. Now, I am not as familiar with how Orks play these days, because other than my buddy back 27, 28 years ago, now I haven't played Orks. So I really haven't played them now, even though they occupy a special place in my heart as my probably favorite opponent to play against still at this time, because they're just So awesome. But let's see what the B-Sand boys have. So movement 6, toughness 5, 5 up. Wounds 1 or 2 for the knob who leads them. 7 up and objective control 2. And they can have a pistol called a slugga, 12-inch range. Attacks 1. Ballistic skill is 5. So they aren't hitting the side of a barn. Strength 4, AP 0, damage 1. Thump gun, blast, which they can probably have 1 of in the squad. 18-inch range, D3 attacks, ballistic skill 5, strength 6, AP 0, but damage 2. So this can kill a Space Marine per hit. Choppas. A choppa is something you chop with. You chop. So it's a choppa, not to be confused with a motorcycle that has the front wheel that stuck way out. This is a choppa, not a chopper. So it is melee at 3 attacks, weapon skill 3 up. So they are way better in melee than in range. Strength 5, AP minus 1, damage 1. Regular close combat weapon, melee, attacks 2. Weapon skill 3, strength 5, AP 0, damage 1. And a power snappa, which I think is like a power claw. Kind of like a power sword, except it's claw. Melee, 4 attacks. Weapon skill 3, strength 7, AP minus 1, damage 2. Now, I'd mention this thing goes on the knob, and the choppa, you probably can have 1 per squad, and everybody else has the close combat weapon. They have a feel no pain of 6 up, and I would venture to guess this is on a lot of the army. Faction is Wog, that we looked at up here, the Wog tribe, and Monster Hunters. Each time a modeled unit makes an attack roll, targets a monster vehicle, and you reroll the hit roll. Okay, so that will help overcome a lot of their. They only have moderate to strong strength against infantry, which makes them weak against vehicles, and almost no AP. But getting to reroll the hits will mean they are hitting those vehicles just a little bit harder. It's accuracy through volume with these guys. Okay, we've got Ghazghkull Thraka. Now, this guy's model has gotten it's about 3 times larger than it was in every direction than it was when I played him. So I don't know what he's like these days, but let's take a look. Movement 5 inches. So he's basically a Terminator. Toughness 6, save 2, 10 wounds, leadership 6, objective control 4, and he's got his little buddy that follows him around, who's also 5 movement, toughness 6, save 7 up, wounds 1, leadership 8, and objective control 1. These guys are okay. Yeah, Orks going to be toughness 5 and probably 6 for Ghazghkull and maybe a few other things. Range weapons: Mork's Roar, rapid fire 1. This is his bolter looking thing here. 36-inch range, 12 shots. Ballistic skill 5, strength 5, AP 0. Gork's Claw, that's his big old claw over here. Melee, 6 attacks, weapon skill 2 up, so he's going to hit on 2s. Strength 14, AP minus 3, damage 4. And Makari, his little buddy, is going to have a Stabba with devastating wounds, which is 1 attack, weapon skill 4, strength 3, AP 0. But you better hope he doesn't roll 6 on it, or you're going to take a mortal. He is a leader, faction Wa. He is an epic hero, so he fits into that slot. He's invulnerable, save of 4 up, and Bakari, for some reason, has a 2 up invuln save, but you cannot re-roll it. Okay. Prophet of Great Wa. While this unit is leading a unit, each time a model in that unit makes a melee attack, add 1 to the hit roll and 1 to the wound. So whatever unit he's leading gets +1 to hits and wounds. And he has a banner. While a friendly orc unit is within 12 inches of Makari, if you have called a Wa this battle round, melee weapons equipped by models in that unit have the lethal hits. So they all automatically wound on crits. Okay. Now, I'm a little unclear how things. Do you have to kill Makari before you can start targeting Ghazghkull? I don't know. But this guy is pretty rough. Now, his shooting is still not great because he's still hitting a 5. And he does get extra shots, so he's, oh my gosh, within 18 inches, he's going to get rapid fire 4. If I'm not mistaken, 48 shots. 1 extra shot to it, or maybe 60 shots. He might get as many as 60 shots. Hitting on a 5 up, that means 1/3. He's going to hit 20 hits at strength 5 within 18 inch range, if my math is not messed up. Now, granted, it's AP 0. That's going to help. But this guy is just, oh my gosh. It's going to be so great to fight against him. I really hope someone local plays this guy because I want to fight this profiles. It's going to be so awesome. Even if you lose, you just got to love it. Okay, let's see, a Death Cannon. This is the weapon profile here, which is on the mech. Has it on This is, I think, on the Stampa, the big knight-like thing that the Orks have. Look at that face there. Who couldn't love that face? And I'm pretty sure that's the def cannon right there. 72-inch range, 3d6 attacks. You're going to average about 10. Ballistic skill 5, strength 14, AP minus 3 damage, d6. Very, very good. General purpose, and it's blast. So this is a very general purpose gun. It's not going to do blow up the world against the toughest targets, but you never know. If you spike the damage on something, you could get some good results. Now, better yet, you have the Mega Choppa. It's a melee weapon. And I think that is this thing over here. Strike. It's load over at 6 attacks, weapon skill 3, strength 24. So it's going to wound a land raider on a 2. AP minus 5 and damage 10. Not D6 plus 4 or anything like that. It's straight up 10 damage. 3 hits from this thing will kill any knight in the game. And the sweep, 18 attacks, weapon skill 3 up, strength 10, AP minus 2, damage 3, and it will kill a Terminator per hit with this thing. That's awesome. Okay. And we've also got squig launches on the Ruck-A-Track Squig Buggy. What is this thing? Blast, ignore, cover. This is their indirect fire weapon. One of them. Anyhow, 36-inch range, d6 plus 6 attacks, ballistic skill 5 up. Now, that basically means sitting on a 6 if they're indirect. Strength 5, AP minus 1, that becomes a 0 indirect. But a damage 2, that means it'll kill a Space Marine if one gets through. Yeah, so very flexible, this little truck here. And stratagem, Orks is never beaten. Okay, so even when they are beaten, they are not beaten. When? Fight phase, just after an enemy unit is selected the target. One Ork unit from your army that was selected as the target of one of the units attack. Until the end of the phase, each time a model unit is destroyed, the auto has not fought this phase, do not remove it from play. The destroyed model. So this is a fight on death, basically. That's what this is going to do. Because they're never beaten. They always win even when they lose. And here we go. Battle tactic. Starting your movement phase, one Ork infantry unit from your army. Till the end of the turn, add 2 to advance and charge. That's just a straight up go faster. And that's amazing. Add +2 to advance and charge. That's great for 1 CP. Oh, that's just, that is the, shall we say, the ribeye, the tenderloin, the New York strip of stratagems there. Great stuff for Orks. And although I don't play Orks, I have fond opinions of them. And I honestly, there's a part of me that suspects Orks are the only good guys in 40K. They're the actual good guys. They are the guys that are ultimately going to win. They are going to finally just lay down the law with the Tyranids and the Necrons and the Drukhari, and they are going to give Chaos what's for, because really they're a bunch of football hooligans out to have a good time pub crawling, except with flamers and bolt guns and things like that. That's my theory. I might be wrong. But anyhow, let's see. So that's Warhammer 40,000 for you humans. It's like a Choppa, but even more, yeah, big Choppa, or a Mega Choppa. Yes, that's right. We have Choppas and we have big Choppas, and we have shooters and big shooters, because Orks are very, very unparticular about their warrior, as long as you can make it more shooty, or you can add more chopping. Anyhow, let's go on and check out the 1,000 Suns real quick. Okay, so what do we have for them? These are a faction that I've never played against them, and I am constantly intrigued by them. And there's a part of me that's like, yeah, that's an army I'd play. And then I'm like, except not. If I'm going to have a Chaos Space Marine army, I'd rather have Night Lords, which I do. But they are cool because they also have one of the Primarch models. They're Magnus Thread. This is an awesome model. This guy just looks fantastic. Is Demon Primarch. Oh, excuse me. And other than that, they have a fairly limited unit selection. They're kind of slow, but their psychic offensive potential has traditionally been very, very high. And if you're not familiar with their lore, Ahriman the Sorcerer, their senior psyker, he accidentally turned them all into dust within their armor. So most of the Marines in the army are actually just animated suits of armor because there's nothing but dust left inside them, with only the sorcerers and a few other people still as intact Space Marines. But they are tremendously powerful in the realm of sorcery with the warp. Okay. So what do they have here? Each time, if your army is faction is 1,000 suns at the end of your command phase, each model from your army with this ability is on the battlefield, excluding battle shock ones, generates a number of cabal points equal to the number shown its ability. Model with the cabal, this refers to 2, we get you 2 cabal points. Okay. Combined total is your cabal points pool for that turn. Okay, so you don't get to, presumably you don't get to stack them on unused ones from the previous turn, or previous battle round, excuse me. During the battle round, you can use rituals from the list below, deducting the cabal points cost for each one of your cabal points pool. If you do not have enough cabal points for a ritual, you cannot use it. If each ritual can only be used once per phase, at the start of your command phase, your cabal point goes back to 0, and then, of course, you get the new ones. And each time you use a ritual, select 1,000 Sun Psyker model from memory, then apply their ritual's effect using that Psyker. So it doesn't have to target the Psyker, but it has to be applied by a Psyker. So if all your Psykers are somehow dead, which I find very hard to believe in 1,000 Suns, you won't be able to do it. What do they got? Weaver Fates, 2 Cabal points. Use the ritual once when a saving throw has failed, you can reroll. So it's a reroll save for 2 Cabal points. Temporal Surge. Use this ritual. Select one friendly 1,000 Suns within 18 inches of the Psyker, unless it uses within engagement range or one or more enemy units can make a normal move. Okay, so you can move rather than charge. You can do an extra move. Okay. Echoes from the Warp, 6 Cabal points. This allows you to use a stratagem for free. Doombolt. This is sort of your shooting phase. One enemy unit within 18 inches invisible. On a 1, D3 mortal wounds. 2 to 5, D3 plus 3. At a 6, it silvers D3. So that's just straight up blasting. And Twist of Fate, Psychic. Can use this ritual at the starting phase. Select one enemy unit within 18 inches of invisible Psyker. And they cannot make armor saves. Whoa. Whoa. Ooh, for 9 points. That's something different. That's different. That's cool. You can just strip their armor right off of them. That would be tough for things like Custodians and Space Marines, and maybe even on Eldari. Just, no armor save at all. Rough. Okay. And let's see. Cult of Magic Detachment Rule. In your command phase, you can select one of the abilities below until your next command phase. Psychic weapons have lethal hits. So automatic wounding. Psychic weapons have sustains hits, so +1 for every 6. Which would normally be what the crits are. If it's lowered, there'd be +1 for every 5 or 6 or 4, 5 or 6, whatever. Wrath of the Immaterium. Psychic weapons equipped by the 1,000 Suns model from your army. Devastating wounds. So if they wound, it becomes immortal. Okay. If they wound on a 6, it becomes immortal. Okay, Ahriman. This is Ahriman the Sorcerer. This is the guy who is responsible for the shenanigans that caused them all to disintegrate inside their armor, and yet the armor still stay alive. Okay. He used to be a chief librarian. Now he is the arch sorcerer of Tzeentch. His 1,000 Suns are all about Tzeentch. Okay, he's movement 6, toughness 4, save 3 up. Wounds 5, leadership 6. That's pretty low for a special character. Leadership 6, control 1. Inferno bolt pistol, 12-inch range pistol. Attacks 1, ballistic skill 2, strength 4, AP -1, damage 1. Okay, not super special, but it's at least got an extra -1 AP. Psychic stock. This is psychic attack. Precision psychic. 18-inch range, ballistic skill 2 up, strength 6, AP -1, damage D6. This guy could effectively snipe with psychics because he has precision. And the Black Stuff of Ahriman, psychic, melee. Attacks 5, skill 2 up, strength 7, AP -1, damage D3. This is enough to kill a Terminator per hit with his amazing staff here. So, pretty good. He's an epic hero. Now, this guy seems a little weak compared to a lot of epic heroes, but I think he'll probably be worth a lot fewer points. He also has an invulnerable save of 4. He gives +1 to wound to his unit, which is awesome. +1 to wound is very, very valuable. I mean, you're only rolling D6s to wound anyhow, so that's a huge increase. That could, if you're on a 6, if you're wounding on a 6, that would make it a 5 or 6. That's double the chance. From 4 to 5, that's a 50% increase in the chance. Okay, and once per battle, you can select the ritual for 0 Cabal points. All other rules for unit will survive. So you could get this no armor saves, this Twist of Fate now, no armor saves for 9 points for 0 points once per battle. That's great. Root Marines, these are the troops. Inferno bolt pistol, similar to Ahriman. Inferno bolt gun. Basically the same thing with one more shot and double the range. Plasma pistol. Nothing we haven't seen before with the plasma pistol. It's a 7 strength, AP -2, and then it goes up to 8 -3 if you overcharge it. Soul Reaper cannon. This is basically an assault cannon. Strength 6, ballistic skill 3 up, strength 6, AP -1, damage 1. This is not heavy either, so no consequences for moving. Warp Smite. I'm not sure what a Warp Smite is. Anti-infantry, devastating moves, pistol, psychic. 18-inch, attacks 2, ballistic skill 3, strength 4, AP -3, damage 1. That's a rough pistol. And then the flamer equivalent weapons here. These all auto hit, and they are very similar to hand flamers and flamers. And of course, they have close combat weapon and a force weapon, psychic, which is probably on the squad leader. The basic one is attacks 2, weapon skill 3 up, strength 4, AP 0, so exactly what you'd imagine. And the squad leader weapon, which I would assume it is, gets an extra attack, 2 extra strength, so up to strength 6, and AP -1, damage D3. All right. What else we got for these guys? They have an invuln save of 5 up, Cabal of Sorcerers 1. So that relates to the ability we discussed up above. And each time a model in this unit makes a range attack reroll a wound roll of 1. Target is attack is an objective marker you do not control. You can reroll the wound roll sets. This is great. These guys are great for clearing things off of objectives. So if you are on an objective and want to hold on to it, you need to keep these guys away or else kill them, because they're going to get full rerolls if you are controlling an objective and they're shooting it. And their Wargear ability is Icon of Flame. Improve each time the model in Bear's unit makes an range attack of a critical wound is scored, improves the armor by 1. So anytime that you're rolling a 6 to wound, you're going to improve your AP -1. And that's assuming you aren't on devastating wounds already. Okay. Weapon Spotlight. They have a lot of detail in this one. This is the Warp Beast. This is really wild. I've never dealt with one of these on the tabletop, but it is an amazing looking model. Okay, it has blast profile, attacks D3, 6 + 3, ballistic skills 3, strength 9, AP -2, damage 2, so a good general purpose bomb. Beam, devastating moves, is also 24 inches, attacks 1, ballistic skill 3, strength 18, AP -4, and damage D6 + 6. So a very respectable anti-tank profile there. And the Torrent, this is a flamer profile, 12 inches, so it's half the range of the other two, attacks 2d6, ballistic skill does not apply because that automatically hits, strength 6, AP -1, damage 1. Good stuff. This is probably going to bring this thing out in a lot of games because this is a very good, very versatile overall weapons profile. I think we're going to need to look at is what are the Vortex Beast point costs like. Are we going to see this a lot, or is it going to stay on the shelf? In Material Flare, he also has this. Within 6 inches of the each time it uses a ritual, it specifies a range, you can double that range. So if you have 1,000 Sun Psyker units that are within 6 inches of the thing that's shooting that gun above, you can double the range of whatever ritual they are using. That is a very, very good synergistic add on top of this weapon profile. And Stratagem, Psychic Dominion, Cult of Magic, Epic Deed. When any phase is different, you use selected its targets. Until the end of the phase, all attacks made against your unit with psychic weapons have the hazardous ability, and all monsters units feel pain 4+ against psychic attack. So this thing is basically turning the enemy's psychics back on them. You can do that. You can force them to treat their psychic attacks as hazardous, and you get a 4-up feel-up pain. So you're going to shrug half the wounds you take regardless. That is a really strong anti-psychic. Now, if you're facing an opponent that doesn't have psychers, like say Drukhari, which are mostly not going to have psychers, worthless. But when you are using this, this is gold. This is really gold. You can basically you could put a lot of risk on enemy psychers with this thing. All right, Ahriman, the Omnibus. I probably should read that one about Ahriman and learn something about him. I don't know a whole lot about his detail in his journey. I just know who he is from a macro level. And that's about it. We got, let's see, we got to get to Grey Knights, and Drukhari are going to be coming up after Grey Knights. Weapons of direct damage. Like, okay, got it. And particular opponents against Eldari Psychers unattached by the hazardous perilous in the inventory. Yeah, most craft worlds powers, they don't suffer that risk. Okay, let's look at the Grey Knights, who are the opponent of the Thousand Suns in one of the releases in 9th edition. because these guys like to hike down rogue psychers and sorcerers. Okay. What is going on here? Whoops. Oh, we're in the wrong article. Hold on. Clicked on the wrong thing. Faction-focused Grey Knights. The Incorruptible. Demons are royal pain in the air and appearance behind. Yeah, and otherworldly field abilities make them especially nightmarish. Seasons have a hard time with them, but the Grey Knights do not. All right. Oh, that looks cool. The Land Raider looks good in silver, too, just like it does in gold for the Custodes. All right, Grey Knights Army Roll, Teleport Assault. Number effect, you can select a number of Grey Knights within this ability. You can remove them from the battlefield based on the size of the battle, and then teleport them back in, 9 inches away from enemy units. Pretty handy. That's a lot of teleporting. Because you can completely redistribute. You can completely redistribute your army every time with it. That's great. Deep Strike. Every model has this. You can set it up in reserves. Anywhere on the battlefield that is not within 9 inches of any model. Okay, so Deep Strike has not changed. That's what we expect. Teleport Shut. Each time a Grey Knights model with a Deep Strike ability advances, don't make it 6-inch auto advances for Grey Knights with Deep Strike. Good stuff. Okay. Getting the units. Purgation Squad. Movement 6, toughness 4, strength 2 up, wounds 2, leadership 1, objective control 1. So these guys are basically Space Marines. They have an Incinerator, which is like a flamer, a silencer, which I'm not sure what that's supposed to be, but I have to learn more about it. Psycannon, which is obviously psychic, or it's right there in the name. 24 inches, attacks 3, ballistic skill 3, strength 8, AP -1, damage 2. So enough to kill a Space Marine per shot with a little AP, and wounding a Space Marine out 2. That's a pretty threatening weapon to heavily armored opponents. And they have a Stormbolter. Attacks 2, ballistic skill 3, strength 4, AP 0. So functionally what it was before. They have regular close combat weapons, and then some of them have Nemesis Force weapons. Attacks 3, weapon skill 3 up, strength 6, AP -2, damage 2. So potentially a very versatile all-around squad. They can Deep Strike, they have Teleport Assault, and they have ranged weapons equipped by models. These units have the indirect fire ability provided that they are visible to one or more other friendly. So they can get indirect fire, but the target has to be seen by at least one of their units. Okay, cool. And the Grand Master in Nemesis Dreadnought. This guy's like a captain or a chapter master. Movement 8, toughness 8, save 2 up, wounds 13, leadership 6, objective control 4. Gatling Silencer has psychic and 1 sustained hit. That's the thing on his left arm that I think you see there pretty prominently. 24 inches, attacks 12, which could go up to 24 if you get your sustained hit. Strength 6, AP 0 -1. Heavy Incinerator. This is basically a heavy flamer. No change. Heavy Psycannon. Range 24 inches, attack 6, ballistic skill 3, strength 10, AP -1, damage 3. Okay. Good generalist weapon profile. Okay. And Dreadfist. This is his melee weapons. He's got attack 6, weapon skill 3, strength 6, AP -1, damage 1. He can also have a Nemesis Demon Great Hammer. This is even better. Only 5 attacks, but this goes up to strength 14, APs -3, and damage D6 +1. Or you could have a Nemesis Greatsword and have 2 profiles. Strength 5 and a strength 10 one, which also invert the number of attacks per. AP -2 for the strength 10, -1 for the other one, and damage D6 for the high strength attack versus 1 for the low strength attack. Okay, so this is yeah, the Dread Knights are a perpetual favorite in Grey Knights. So this is what they're going to look like. I am not really afraid of this. I don't think it's going to be easy to deal with, but I don't feel like it's going to be impossible to deal with either. I could totally see this as an opponent. Deadly Demise, D3, Deep Strike, and his Teleport Assault. Once per battle round of the fight phase, one of my models are used before suffering attacks. If it does until the end of the phase, each time the model that attack targets a monster vehicle unit, reroll the hit, roll, wound, and the damage. Okay, so you can give this ability to other There's no non-entities that say you can't. Okay. Heroism's favor. Each time you target this model with a stratagem, it only costs 1 CP. The CP is higher. Okay, handy. Definitely handy. And they bracket at 4 wounds. That is what a Grandmaster one of these things. Now, these things had to be nerfed with. They somehow limited you from, I think, 5 to 4 of these in an army in 9th edition. And it looks like that's not going to be important anymore. Weapons. Okay, Purifying Flame. This is a psychic weapon that's basically a personal flamethrower. 18-inch weapon, attacks 1, ballistic skill 3, strength 4, AP bonus 1, damage 1. That'll chip some wounds off something. Even if all it does is make you need 1 less hammer swing, that's great. Anti-infantry 2 up, and ignores cover at psychics. This is going to be rough against infantry. All right, and Halo and Soulfire. Teleport, strike, force, battle tactic. Stratagem: when you're in movement phase, 1 grenade segregated from your army using a teleport. You cannot be targeted by ranged attacks unless the attack model is in 12 inches. Okay, makes sense. Teleport obscures things too much. And that can really stop some opponents from just shooting you up on the drop zone. And we also have Radiant Strike, Teleport Strike, Battle Text Stratagem. In the fight phase, 1 Grey Knight Psyker until the end of that phase, melee weapons by models in unit also have, with the Psychic ability, also have the Devastating Wounds ability. I have to see where that goes. Okay. We got under the Emperor's Gift, Grey Knights Omnibus, Grey Knights Sons of Tychon. Almost looks like a little bit of attention being paid to the chapter master or leaders over the rank and file, but that's okay. They haven't featured too prominently anymore, so we got to get it caught up. And let's see here. Those aren't substitute too much anyway. Yeah, this is one of the Imperium's most self-destructive things, is people who run into chaos, even if they're reasonably skilled troops like Scions or Sisters of Battle, they may get mind wiped or executed. And that's basically doing Chaos's job for them. You gotta stop doing that, guys. Imperium, stop it. People need to know about Chaos. You're not hiding it. Just stop killing your own loyalists because of that. Okay. Next up, we are going to have Drukhari. Drukhari, I have very mixed feelings about, and I'll explain that in the next video. But anyhow, at the present time, thank you for watching. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe down below, and click the notifications bell for more great content from Wilderness Wargaming so I can see you all back here again very soon. Bye-bye.